Hello and welcome to my BTO diary, and if this picture is familiar to you, it means that you must have stumbled across my Instagram account. So yeah, there's actually more of these which I haven't posted as of now, but here they are, different views which I'm gonna post soon. This was actually a template that I did myself when I was sort of exploring the fastest way I could try and create these 3D visualizations quickly for me to visualize my home. So this is a standard BTO 4-room flat. I'm going to jump over to the 3D file for you to take a look. So everything you see here is done in Blender and everything is completely free. If you haven't installed Blender, I have a quick tutorial video of how to install Blender, which I will link you in the description. So like I said, everything you see here is free, and like so even the chairs, even this remote here, the TV I modeled myself, so it's free. But a lot of stuff like the furniture and objects in the house, like this toy train over here, everything is completely free. I just dragged and dropped it, like including the lights as well. So I'm going to show you how to get all these things for free, and it's a very simple just drag and drop. It's so simple. I'm just going to show you right now really quickly how this thing roughly works. So let's say I am going to look for a box, so I'm going to type the word box, and it shows me all the free models that I have. Oh wow, there's a face mask box. So let's see, where am I gonna place this face mask? I think I'm gonna place it on my coffee table here. So I'm just gonna click it, and you see this, it's gonna just snap onto the table, and when I let go, it's just gonna load it, and ta-da, here you go, your mask. So I can just rotate it any way I want. I'm just gonna turn this off so it's less distracting. And then of course everything is gray shaded right now, but if I press the render button, the render preview button, it's just gonna preview how it's gonna look like when you render. So yeah, look at this. This looks awesome, right? And it could be real time for you. For me, it isn't because I'm on a 1080 GTX. But if you had a 3090 graphic card, this would be insanely fast for you. So it wouldn't be that laggy, but nonetheless, it is definitely good enough for visualization. So here's just, I'm just showing you a sample of what you can do with Blender with zero cost except your electricity dollars. So here's another view with a different renderer, and it's much more faster for me, so I can sort of preview my house, like all the different colors really quickly. So I'm just gonna focus on this so I can move my camera around, and if I want to see roughly how my renders will look like, I'm just gonna click on this preview button to see how it looks like. And if I'm happy with how all the lights are interacting with the surfaces and the colors, I'm just gonna render for real, and that's where you see those images that I showed you just now of my house. Actually no, it's not my house, but it's the house I modeled for the tutorial test. Yes, so that's not my house. So if you see my house in the future and it doesn't look like this, that's exactly why. This is not my house. This is just a sample. Alright, so before I bore you to death with some of these details, let's jump in. So before I jump in, I'm just going to show you what we're going to model. And this is the actual floor plan for one of the units in Clementi Peaks. It's a very standard 4-room type BTO. I think a lot of people are going to have designs that are roughly similar to this. If you have a Clementi Peaks BTO that has a unit exactly like this, when we're done with the model, I can just pass it on to you, but please let me know in the comments so I know who to talk to about this. But I'm basically going to show you guys how to start off modeling, lighting the house. So I'm just going to open a file, an example file, to show you like what kind of results we're gonna get. So we're gonna get something like this at the end of the whole tutorial. It's a very simple house. So this is actually my actual BTO, which looks a bit different from the Clementi Pigs one, but it's actually quite similar in layout. It's just that certain walls, and pillars are not as long as the others, but I basically modeled everything to scale. So this is sort of the result we want to get to before we start putting in furnishings, because that's the easy part. The hard part is definitely to start doing the 3D model itself, because it's going to take some time for you to do this. I'll probably show some small details of how to model all these door knobs and all these things we see in the house BTOs, in the storeroom. Yeah, and don't forget we have this weird circular stuff here. So yeah, this whole tutorial will sort of show you how to do something like this. And then of course, we're going to progress and we're going to put in more furnishing, and we'll end up with, what you saw earlier. Alright, so jumping in, this is Blender 2.93.1. If you're watching this in the future, this version might actually be different for you, but I think everything else should be still the same. I think, the general controls are still going to remain the same for the time being, so no worries about that. Let's click on General, New File. So we're going to start from scratch. Basically, I'm just going to start everything from scratch so you can follow step by step. I'm just going to turn on my screencast keys so you can see what I'm all my buttons I'm pressing on the screen left hand side. So I'm going to select everything in this scene, and I'm just going to press A, press X to delete everything. So we're going to start from scratch, right? And the first thing, I think one of the first things first is that we're going to have to save this file. All right, so I'm going to navigate to my folder, and I'm just going to name this as Clementi Pigs version 1.blend, and I'm just going to save it. So every time you just want to save your file, just press Ctrl S and you save your file. All right, so let's bring in the image. Just gonna press Shift A to bring in anything, and you want to go down to image and go to reference. And when we're in reference, just search for your file. I have mine here, Clementi Pigs, and it's in. So if you noticed, this is the exact image that I showed you earlier. I think I still have it. Yep, I still have it here. So it's the same thing, but this time it's brought into 3D space. So I'm just going to press N to bring up the sidebar menu on the screen right. And I'm just going to go to the rotation option and make everything to 0. So basically zeroing out all the rotations. So it's a flat plane. And I'm just gonna go and move into my top view. Okay, hello and welcome to a supplementary tutorial inside a tutorial. If you haven't already know how to navigate around the 3D scene in Blender, this is how you are going to do this. And I'm going to show you a combination of keys right now. So middle mouse button on the viewport, which is this window around here. This is called the viewport, and the viewport contains all your 3D items inside a 3D scene. So this viewport here, this window here, it's your window into the 3D world. That's what a viewport is. So to start navigating around inside the viewport, we're going to hold the middle mouse button with your mouse inside the viewport, and this will allow you to rotate around the center point. If I hold the shift button and middle mouse, I'm going to translate around. And if I hold the control button and middle mouse up and down, you're zooming in and out. So with the combination of these 3 steps, you can basically move dolly around your 3D space and explore. And if you somehow find yourself lost, in a 3D space, and with an object selected, you can press the period key on your numpad and it will bring you straight to it. And from there, it basically resets your center point of your focus and you'll be able to move around freely again. So the next quick thing I'm going to show you is how did I jump into the top view of the floor plan, and I'm just going to demonstrate it here really quickly. So we're going to hold the Alt button and you're going to middle mouse and swipe your mouse up and down. So this might take a while to get the hang of, but once you do, you'll be able to jump around all these views really quickly. And there you go, that's how you navigate really quickly around the 3D space. Now back to the main tutorial. Alright, so this is where the fun begins. So as you can see here, 3600, 3600. So these are all in millimeters. So what I'm going to do, there's many ways to do this, but I'm just going to show you one way that I've always been comfortable with. So I'm just going to do a Shift A. I'm going to bring in a plane, which is a 2D plane. So basically, if you can see, it's there's no depth to it. There's no thickness. It's just a card, right? So I'm just going to go back to the top view. I'm just going to bring this to the side here. And we know this, we're going to start with one small area, which is this length of the wall, which is the living room wall with the 4 windows here. So we're just going to start there first. And you can see on the screen right hand side, there's dimensions. So you can see that this card is 2 meters by 2 meters. And you can basically type anything here. So, you know, you can just left mouse button and, you know, drag this, and then you can see how it scales along the x-axis. So right now we're just going to scale this in the x-axis to 3600 millimeters. So I can just type in here 3600 mm, and they will give you exactly 3600 mm, which is 3.6 meters. Wonderful, huh? So this dimension box accepts other types of values as well. You can type in centimeters, so 360 centimeters. You know, you see it will automatically just revert everything back to meters, but you can basically just type it in here. So I'm just gonna reduce this right now to, I don't know, just maybe like 0.2 meters for now. And the next step I'm gonna do is that I'm just gonna select our plane, which is the floor plan. And I think I'm just gonna rename this first. Floor plan. Right, because you know, this is basically an outliner where all your items in the scene will start to populate here. So after a while, this whole thing will get super huge and crazy big. It's going to be super hard to navigate around this. It's like the unlimited layers in Photoshop hell. That's what I would say. So it's good practice to start renaming your stuff, like plane. Like, what is a plane? So I mean, for now it's fine, but I mean, in the future you're gonna get screwed if everything is plane 01, plane 02, plane 03. And if you're searching for an item in a list of 3000 items, you kind of want to name every single one of them. Otherwise everything will be in numbers and it's super hard to navigate. All right, enough with the ranting. Let me go on with the modeling. So let me select this reference image, which is our floor plan. All right, so there are different ways to do this as well. So one of my favorite ways is that I'm just gonna select this plane first, this card, right? This thing that I just modeled. I'm gonna press tab to go into edit mode. I'm gonna select this vertex here, and then I'm gonna press Shift S, and I'm going to go cursor to selected. All right. And then I'm just going to go tab to go back into the object mode. And then what's going to happen now, I'm just going to select this reference image, and I'm just going to bring this here. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go into X-ray mode, which is Alt Z. So I'm going to have to eyeball this one. So I'm just going to try and get this as accurate as possible. You see, if you hold the shift button and you move your mouse, it will sort of move in smaller incremental decimals. All right, so I can zoom in and I'm really trying to eyeball this one. So let me try to do that. Deselect it. All right, fine. This is fine. And then what's going to happen? I'm just going to press the period key with our reference image selected, and I'm just going to select 3D cursor. So what this means is that I'm going to scale everything from the point of the 3D cursor. So we know that this wall is 3600 millimeters, and the actual plane that we modeled here is that length. So we're just going to press S and scale it all the way up. And of course, we're going to have to eyeball the end as well. All right, that was pretty damn accurate. It's awesome. All right, so that's it. Done. First step done. This is awesome. Look at this. Your first wall is almost done. That's how easy it is, right? Okay, so I'm just going to go into edit mode and go back to my non-X-ray view, Alt-Z. I'm just going to select our vertices and just bring them in. So I'm just going to try and make it, you know, as correctly thick as how they drew it. So I'm just gonna move it in place like this, and I'm gonna go and save. Okay, so the next step, we don't really care about the outer area, just really only care about the interior walls. So what's gonna happen now, I'm just gonna go into edit mode, and I'm going to go into the top view, which is the best view for this kind of things. I'm just going to go Control R, going to place it here and bring this edge in. I'm going to select these two vertices, and I'm going to press E to extrude it downwards here. Of course, all this you got to eyeball, so it's not going to be super accurate, but it's fine. It's fine. It's just a visualization. All right, so over here, I'm just going to go and extrude E. Just going to go here. All right, this is super accurate. Okay, it's like probably like a 0.5 millimeter difference. All right, so we're just going to select these two vertices, extrude it out with E again. I'm just trying to make it exact here. Select this one, press E again. And then I'm going to make an edge loop again here, Control R. And I'm going to try and align it right here. Right. I'm going to select this one, extrude all the way here. Right. And this time now, I think I'm going to go into X-ray mode. So I'm just going to go to Alt-Z, X-ray mode, so I can see what I'm modeling over. We have a block here. We're just going to go edge loop again. Select this edge. Bring it in. Bring the edge in. Gonna lock it here. Gonna select these two. Gonna extrude it again here. Alright. Now remember, this is just how I do it. You can do it in another way. There's no right or wrong. So I'm just going to create another edge loop here. And then align it here. Another edge loop. Align this here. Select these two vertices. Extrude E. And that's our master bedroom window wall. Okay, so I'm going to create an edge loop, Control R, and basically it will create it in the middle of the actual polygon. So if you have a polygon with, you know, 4 sides and nothing inside it, it will create the edge loop in the middle of it. So if you are zoomed in like just now I was, you won't be able to see it, especially when you're zoomed in like this, you won't be able to see the creation, so you just have to drag it over. Okay, so understandably, you are probably pretty sleepy right now. So here's another mini tutorial on what are edge loops and extrusions. So I'm just gonna jump into Blender And as you can see, this is the default setup, and I'm just going to show you very quickly what am I talking about when I say add an edge loop using Control R. So you have to be in the edit mode, so you got to press tab, and you can see it switches to the edit mode, so you can see all these points. So these points are basically a version of the edit mode. There are 3 versions. One is for the points mode or vertex mode, vertices. 2 is edge mode, so you can select edges. And 3, it's the face mode. So this is where you can adjust the faces of your polygons. So we're going to stick to number 1, which is vertex mode, and I'm just going to press Ctrl R right now to add an edge loop. So Ctrl R, and you can see the moment you hover your mouse over the object, it actually outlines where the edge loop is going to be placed along an edge. So it's usually created on the center of an edge. So for example, right now, just gonna undo the last option, and I'm just gonna extend this longer just to show you how it works. So I'm gonna press Ctrl R right now, and you can see, right, it basically snaps to the middle of your selected edge. So in the case of just now, when we were, zoomed in over here, you couldn't see where the edge loop was placed because it was somewhere in the middle of the entire edge. So that's how it works. So with that said, I'm going to show you now what is an extrusion. So basically an extrusion, it means that you're selecting like an edge or face of the object, and you're trying to create new shapes that go outwards from it. So the hotkey is E. So in the case of faces, you're going to select the face or whatever you want, and you press E, and when you move your mouse, it's going to extrude. It's going to create new faces and move it out. So if you're in edge mode, what's going to happen is that you're going to select an edge, which was what we did earlier in the house modeling tutorial. So you press E and you extrude an edge. So this is basically what we're doing. But doing something like this is a really bad idea, which I can go further in future videos. But there, yeah, basically this is what extrusions are. So, I mean, how it all starts, like whenever you see a 3D model or like of a car, it always starts out from one polygon like this. And basically, people just start extruding stuff, extruding, and then they will start going to all the vertex modes and start adjusting where all these points are supposed to be and whatnot. And eventually that's how you get a car. So that's how it all starts. It all starts from one simple mesh like this, like a cube or even just a card. Like for me, I prefer modeling from cards. So it always starts from one card, and then you just continue extruding stuff, until you're done for the whole mesh. So yeah, that's how that's really the basics of extrusions. And let's jump back to the main tutorial. Right, so I'm just gonna drag this here. All right, I think I'm quite happy. I'm gonna try and get this aligned to the hardest edge here. I'm gonna select these 2 vertex, gonna extrude it all the way. Whoa, and I see something interesting. So this is funny. The wall there's a small gap. Alright, so I'm just gonna create an edge loop here. If I roll my middle mouse button, I can create multiple edge loops, but we only want one. So I'm just gonna scroll back down with the one and just left mouse button to select it and bring it here. Then I'm just gonna select this and extrude it all the way here. Same thing. And I'm just gonna press Ctrl S to save it for the time being. Okay, let's continue. We're almost halfway there. So Ctrl R, just place it here and bring it down. Okay, I'm just gonna release it here. just gonna select these two vertex, press E to extrude it all the way to the hard edge here. All right, and I'm just gonna, should I build the wall here first? No, never mind. I'll go along the perimeter of the house first. So let's see, just create another edge loop, bring it here, select these two vertex, press E to extrude downwards. We're not going to touch the aircon latch, so we're just going to create an edge loop here. Right here, I'm going to select these two vertex and extrude it. And I think we're going to extrude it all the way out across the two bathrooms. And I'm just going to select this vertex and these vertex, and I'm just gonna go further out here because this guy is the window, so we want to try and maintain the actual wall thickness. And I'm just gonna do another edge loop here, bring it here, press this E to extrude. And if I'm not wrong, this should be flush to this. So all we need to do is press G to move, and then I middle mouse button in the, was it the Y axis? And I'm just gonna hold Control, and I'm just gonna select, like move my mouse over this vertex, and you notice that it didn't snap because my snapping options are not on to the vertex. So I'm just going to do that right now over here on the top corner. I'm just going to select G again, middle mouse down on the Y axis, hold down Control, and hover my mouse over the vertex. I want to sort of move it in the Y axis to align it, and I'll just let go. So this wall here is flushed to this wall here. All right, so looks like, what else? Right, the service yard. Okay, so let me just Control R here. Right, let's make the service yard wall here. So this is going to be like a half height wall. I'm just going to extrude it down. This half height wall has no windows, FYI, in case you do not know about this yet. But HDB doesn't build windows along this wall here, so you got to build your own. You can use those zip blinds to sort of cover it up. All right, so I'm just gonna edge an edge loop here. I'm gonna extrude this downwards, and just because I'm trying to get it as accurate as I can, I'm just gonna add an edge loop here. Just gonna bring it back down so that I can get the accurate thickness of the wall here. And I'm gonna extrude this all the way. Oh wow, and this is the outside of the house. That's cool. I'm guessing this is the electrical meter and stuff. Risers, I don't know. Gonna add another edge loop here. Gonna add another edge loop here. All right, selecting the two vertex. Press E to extrude, and I think this time I'm just gonna extrude it all the way. All right, so it's not supposed to be flushed with anything from what I can see. So I'm gonna add an edge loop here. Select this two vertex, press E to extrude this outwards like this. And we have this small bump, so I'm just gonna add two edge loops here, one here, to try and get it as accurate as I can. Select these three vertices and extrude it out. There. Alright, so one small area left, which is the door. and the bomb shelter area. So let's see, where should I begin? Alright, maybe, you know what, let's just do this wall. We started with this one. Let's finish up with this. So I'm gonna go and do an edge loop here, an edge loop here. I'm gonna press E to extrude here. And you know, I mean, of course you can extrude it all the way down if you really want it. There's many ways to do this, right? So you could definitely do it this way as well. And then you can extrude these sides out. So just create an edge loop here. So I'm just gonna select this too. Now I technically don't have to do this because it's on the outside, but it's fine. It's fine. Alright, I'm gonna extrude this side here. I'm going to create an edge loop here. I'm going to select these two vertices here. And I have a suspicion that the drawing is slightly wrong. I don't believe there's going to be a an actual gap here. So let's just leave it for now and make it a square with a nice angle. So let's create an edge loop here for this wall. Extrude this downwards. Alright, let's try something else. Let's just extrude it all the way. Extruding it all the way and flushing it here. Holding the control button. Alright, so what we're gonna do here is something different. Just going to create edge loops here. So we're going to create, let's put it here, and let's put the other one here. Since, you know, this thing here, it's probably the door frame, so we'll probably model the door frame in later, right? And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to press 3, which is face mode. I'm just going to select this face, press X to delete it. That's it. Alright, so here's interesting. I have to find a way to join this. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an edge loop here to align with this black block here. Alright, and then I'm just going to create an edge loop here, and I'm going to align myself with this vertex here, holding the control like this super awesome hotkey. Control and mouse over. It's amazing. And basically I'm just going to select all these 4 vertices. I'm going to press 1 to go into vertex mode. Select all these 4 vertices and press F to fill it. Alright, so let's model the door. Not the door, but the wall next to the door. Okay, let's try to be accurate here, even though we don't have to be, since it's on the outside. Just going to create some edge loops here and here. Going to select these vertices and press E to extrude. Extrude until this area because this is the door frame. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to control and mouse over to get it flushed with the vertex. Same thing, create an edge loop, flush it with the other one, so they're all aligned. I'm just gonna select these 2 vertex here and press E to extrude, and that's the other side of the door. And if I turn off the X-ray mode, Alt Z, I can see that my exterior house perimeter has been modeled. That was so quick. That was quick, right? Alright, so let's proceed with the interior, but before that I'm going to press Ctrl S to save again. Alright, so let's just start with this bedroom. I'm going to go into X-ray mode again, so Alt Z, and I'm going to press Ctrl R to add an edge loop, Ctrl R to add another edge loop, bring it in, and I'm gonna select these two vertices and press E to extrude it all the way down. Right, let's try to get this as accurate as possible. I'm just gonna add another edge loop here. Alright, so that's not bad. Let's build this wall here. Let's add an edge loop here. Now this gap here is really suspect. I wonder if there's really a gap because it doesn't make sense. But if that's the floor plan, and if the floor plan is supposed to be quite accurate, we're just gonna model that in. So edge loops, more edge loops, more edge loops, and then extrusions as well. And yeah, I'll probably stop here because this is the door frame. And so this entire piece here, gonna flush it and align it to the vertex here. So we're gonna press G, middle mouse button, and then hold Control and just hover my mouse again to align it. Same thing here. It's a very weird offset in the wall, but never mind. Control R. Gonna press Control R again, and let's extrude this all the way down, and let's align it with the vertex here, and create an edge loop here, align it with the vertex here, and select these two, extrude it, and I'm gonna adjust it just before the door frame. Right here we have a small little wall here. Right, so that's that. Let's move on to the toilets. Same thing, all these gaps all over the house. I wonder if this is real, because it would be pretty annoying for me if I have those in my house. All right, let's start from here. Let's add an edge loop here, and I'm gonna select these two vertices and extrude it out. Gonna press G, extrude it, add another edge loop. I bet you're sick of hearing me say edge loop again. Press E to extrude, and this time I'm gonna extrude it here. I think this is the door frame. Same thing for here. Extrude this side of the wall. Alright, let's just do this. Just gonna create an edge loop here, bring it up here, which is supposed to be flushed here, so I'm just gonna press G, middle mouse button, and align it. Add another edge loop, align it, select these two vertex, extrude right before the door frame. I think that's the door frame. Alright, so we have another one here. Add an edge loop, align it to this vertex, add an edge loop, align it to this one, select this two, extrude it all the way before the door frame, and that's the bathroom. I'm gonna press save, and we're pretty much done. So basically we can model this wall here in the service yard, but that's completely up to you. If you're planning to knock these walls down, then you don't have to model them. You can actually knock them down, so you know these are knockable walls, so feel free to not model them. All right, but since you know, for the sake of the tutorial, let's just model this, right? Let's just Control R, bring this edge loop here, extrude it. Well, this might be one of the weirdest thing that I've seen, but fine. I'm just gonna go off with the measurements slightly and just assume this is the wall and the windows are thinner. All right, because this kind of, I don't know, I've never seen anything like this before in all the BTO flats. So I'm just gonna do another edge loop here. Gonna bring it in, edge loop here, bring it in, select this vertex, extrude out. I can see I'm slightly off, so I'm just gonna select this and bring it in a bit. And all right, fine. I'm just gonna extrude this all the way here, but just keep in mind that we're gonna deal with this later. All right, so I'm gonna Alt-Z exit from the X-ray mode, and basically this is what we have done so far. So I'm just gonna press tab to have a nice look at it. Press save. Of course, I'm gonna save this. And in the next tutorial, we are going to extrude this upwards to make the wall have height, which is very important. Of course, you don't need to if you're planning to do a 2D layout, but definitely you want height. So yeah, let's just catch the next tutorial. Thank you. All right, so I just like to put in some time to personally thank you for getting to the end of this video, because 40 minutes of hardcore tutorials are pretty hard to sit down and watch and do at the same time. It's hard for me myself when I learn new things, so I can probably understand, especially if you just started learning a 3D software. So I'm gonna start doing shorter tutorials on those specific subjects that has to do with Blender, so it'll be easier when you get to the long ones like this. So yeah, thank you very much for reaching the end of the video, and I hope to see you soon in the next one.